Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Dan Lawrence. I am a faculty member in the Department of Writing, Language, and Literature at the University of Wisconsin-Superior, and this is Writing 102, Introduction to Academic Writing. Um, Maybe to just start off, what is this course? This is a course that will help you learn how to write at the college level. It is a course that will help you learn how to write a research paper. That's essentially what we're going to be doing is identifying a topic, working on building that topic into a research question, gathering sources, drafting a research paper, and then revising and editing and polishing that into a paper. So it's like a paper building course, you might think of it as. And the purpose of the course is to teach you the proper process for writing at the college level, as well as proper research techniques and things to think about as you write papers in other courses. So it's really to your benefit to stick through this course and hang in there and do your best work here because it's going to help you throughout your entire college career. These are important building blocks that are going to help you. Um, that's the kind of elevator pitch of this course. At best, though, this is a course that can help you think. This is a course that's going to help you learn how to think in your field and learn how to think methodologically and critically about problems in the world. Every field has its own methodologies that it uses, its processes of thought and discovery and research. And this is going to get you one step closer to thinking like a college educated person and a critically thinking person. So the purpose of this video is to give you a broad overview of the course, its major assignments, where the points will come from, and just kind of get you oriented to what we're going to be doing for the next 15 or 16 weeks here. So let's get started. My name's Dr. Dan Lawrence. I am a faculty member in the Department of Writing, Language, and Literature. I've been teaching writing courses for more than 10 years now. My PhD is in rhetoric and technical communication, and I specialize in digital media theory. And my research right now focuses on disinformation and misinformation. So you're in good hands. I've been doing this for a long time, and I really enjoy teaching this course, and I'm very qualified to be doing it. I study the ancient discipline of rhetoric, which is the art of persuasion, which is what you'll be reading about a little bit, and thinking about, for example, how to evaluate sources, which is this question of what the ancient Greeks called ethos or ethos, character or credibility. Why do we trust some sources and not other sources? There's a whole field of evaluation of credibility. Okay, so that's me. And then let's just open up Canvas. Canvas is the LMS, the Learning Management System that we use to organize our courses at UW Superior, the University of Wisconsin-Superior. So let's open that up. Open up your Canvas course if you have your computer here in front of you, or open up a web browser and get that in front of you. And you'll see that my courses are very well organized. Modules are the boxes. The boxes are modules. And every week has a module. So you start with week 1, welcome to the course, look at every page, read the syllabus, post your discussion board, and then you can move to week 2. Then when you're ready, move to week 3. And you can move through these modules on a week by week basis. You should also use the syllabus and the schedule to keep track of, what should you be reading and what should you be doing. And then you'll see on the left-hand side, the vertical navigation menu, the up and down navigation menu, there's an assignments tab there. And you can click on that to see all of the major point-based assignments that are going to be due. So I'll walk through those with you right now. I'm looking at the assignments page in Canvas. There's a weekly discussion board. So you'll see that's the first thing that's due. And that's your first task here, the week one discussion. You'll see there are short reading quizzes throughout the course. So you'll have to read the corresponding material and then take the corresponding quiz. They're short quizzes, and you can have your books open. You can have your reading materials open to take those quizzes. That's okay. In fact, you're going to need to do that for some of them some of the quizzes will ask you specific formatting questions about MLA, the Modern Language Association Formatting Style Guide, which we'll use for this course. And you don't need to have that all in your head. You're going to want to use, for the reading quizzes that ask about MLA, you'll want to have your handbook there to help you out with that. Okay, so you have discussion boards, you have the short reading quizzes. The first major assignment is your research paper outline and your proposal. And that's week 5. So you'll have to take some time to think about what do you want to write about, what's your research question going to be, and start thinking about the outline of that paper. So this is part of the proper writing process. We call this pre-writing. A proper writing process looks something like pre-writing, drafting, revision, editing, and then you're done. You submit it or whatever, publish it, whatever it is you're going to do with your writing. And that's true of any writing assignment that you do in college. It's true even of professional writers, like technical writers. You start with brainstorming and researching. That's your pre-writing, or making an outline, like the case of what we're going to do here. That's your planning stage, pre-writing. So that's why I'm asking you to do an outline. Then you'll write a draft, try to get the words out on the page. Then you'll take that draft and you'll change it. That's revision, right? You might have to move things around. You might have missed an important counter argument. It might not make sense. It might not flow very well. It might be poorly organized. So revision is, top to bottom, reshaping the thing. And then there's a distinct editing stage. And that's where you go line by line and proofread. You look for errors, typos, clunky sentences that need to be changed, grammatical issues, and then essentially you should probably do another proofreading stage again there, but you're pretty close to being done after you've done a thorough edit of a paper. So that's the paper writing process, the academic paper writing process that we're working on here. So your first major assignment is the paper outline and proposal. Then you'll submit a draft of your paper, and then you'll submit a revised and edited copy of it, and then you will submit a final research paper at the end of the course. And those are your major assignments. They're all related to that one research paper that you're going to propose early on in the class. Now about that, I have a list of topics that I'd like you to choose from. The theme of the course is something like, humanity's issues with technology and visions for the human future. So I've tried to choose topics that, I think you're going to find something interesting in there. Most of them deal with humanity and technology and the struggle that we have with technology. So things like artificial intelligence, social media addiction, electric vehicles and environmental concerns. You'll see a really nice list of topics that you can think about. And you can probably link it to your major or minor and your academic interests too. In fact, I encourage you to do that. So just for example, if you're studying psychology, maybe the way that you approach your research question is somehow linked to the study of psychology, right? So an example of that might be, you're curious about researching the relationship between artificial intelligence and consciousness, the human mind, right? Can artificial intelligence be conscious? Can it be awake and alive? That's a good, kind of a start to a research question. But then you'll need to refine it and tweak it and, you'll have to start reading some peer-reviewed research, some actual academic articles, and kind of going down the rabbit hole of research and seeing what people are saying and writing about this topic. And then, from there you might refine it. You might say, well, that's too big of a question. That's not really I can't really take a defensible position on anything related to that topic in 12 to pages of academic writing or something like that. So you'll have to refine it a little bit and think about, you know, maybe the research question changes to something like, how does artificial intelligence or how do humans perceive artificial intelligence as being conscious, right? And then maybe that's actually something you could tackle in a research paper for this course, because there are studies about that. What are the features and characteristics of artificial intelligence language that makes us think that it's conscious? That's a good research question, right? It's really interesting and it's manageable. It's not super big, right? Can artificial intelligence ever be sentient? Can it ever be conscious? That's a cool question. It's a good starting point, but it's not really well defined. It's not really well refined. What are the features of the language that language modeling artificial intelligence can use that make us think that they're conscious? That's pretty well defined. You can actually figure that out and write a research paper about it. So that's just one example, right? Maybe your research question is related to electric vehicles or space exploration, or I have a whole great, really interesting list. Those are just topics, though. You have to take that topic, take a topic that interests you and sort of drill down into it to come up with a manageable, researchable, defensible kind of research question. You'll propose that, and then you'll write a paper about it. And we'll walk you through that whole process of researching, building your argument, addressing counter arguments, and coming out at the end with a really nice research paper. So that's the basic idea of the course. So get interested in something, right? Early on in the course, look at that list of topics and start thinking about it. Start thinking about what directions you might want to take with this research paper. What else could I say? I think that's enough for now. That's the basic layout, okay? So there's, weekly discussion boards, there are short reading quizzes, and then there are major assignments, which are all related to that research paper, the research paper proposal and outline, and then the research paper draft, then an edited copy, and then a final copy. And I'm going through the assignments tab right now, right? So you can look at all this in Canvas. And you can also look in the syllabus for the course. You should read the syllabus for the course to make sure that you're on the same page with, the readings. That's the last thing I'll talk about here is, I'm using a free, it's called an OER, an open educational resource. That's your main textbook for this class. It's called Successful College Composition. So I hope you enjoy that. That's on purpose, that I'm trying to use a free and accessible text here. I vetted it, I've read it, it's pretty good. There are some, because it's a free resource, they maybe didn't have the same kind of editing teams and funding behind the project, so you occasionally might see some typos, or it'll say, here's a list of 5 things, and then there'll only be 4 things in the list. Or I saw a couple of typos like that in the book, so just be mindful of that. But, other than some small errors like that, it's a really good textbook, and it covers this whole spectrum of this whole process of writing a research paper. So I hope you'll take that text seriously and actually read it, read the assigned pages, and use that as your kind of guide. That's your guide to this whole process. And you'll want to read it because the short reading quizzes, at least most of them, are based on that. And then some of the quizzes are based on the Little Seagull Handbook. So this is your companion to the OER, right? The OER, the Successful College Composition, is your main textbook, and this is your reference manual that you should also acquire. Your required reading material for the course. This is a really nice handbook about style guides, MLA and APA, and it has Chicago too, has sample papers that are formatted fully in MLA. We're going to use MLA for this course, but once you learn one style guide, you can learn how to apply other ones too. So APA is used in more of the what I call the soft sciences. I don't know if people still use that term or not, but things like psychology, sociology, anthropology tends to use APA style guide, and then the humanities tend to use things like philosophy, history, English. Those fields tend to use MLA. Engineering uses IEEE. Journalists tend to use Chicago style. There's all different style guides out there. So for the sake of standardization and learning, I've chosen MLA. I'd like you to use MLA for this course. And so, to learn how to use that style guide, this is a great reference manual. You're going to need to read from this. You're going to need to reference this and use this. I'll be expecting that you document your research in MLA style. So it's very important that you learn how to do this. And your other professors in the future will expect you to use either MLA or APA, depending on your discipline, depending on the field that you're studying, for future papers. So I can tell you right now, I teach upper level courses, 300 level, 400 level courses, and probably the greatest predictor of a successful grade in upper level courses is whether or not a student has a good handle on style guide usage like MLA. Just practically speaking, you'll lose a lot of points on papers for other classes if you're not documenting your sources properly. So what that means is, academia is like a big web. You write a paper and you mention a source so that your reader knows that you're referencing a valid, credible piece of data, right? It's to back up, you're using credible sources to back up your arguments, but then you're also giving your reader the proper documentation so they can look up that source if they want. And then from there, that source that you quoted might cite 10 other sources. And then the reader can go and look up the origin of those sources and where that data comes from. And together, by properly formatting our sources, we create an intricate, interrelated, interconnected web of high quality academic material. That's why we cite things. That's why we use a style guide like MLA. So it's really important that we do this. And there's a method of doing it. There's a proper way of doing it. So for example, in MLA, if you quote, here's basically the formula, right? You use a signal phrase. You'll read all about this, don't worry. But you'll use a signal phrase, according to Jenkins, that's your author's name, according to Jenkins, comma, then insert quotation, according to Jenkins, quotation marks, X is equal to Y in this scenario, period. Or rather, close quotations, then start your parenthetical citations, put the page number in there, close the parenthetical citation, then period at the end, put your punctuation at the end. That's what it looks like. That's what I mean when I say use MLA style. That's an in-text citation, right? So you introduce your author, according to the leading scientist at the Harvard Misinformation Review, Leroy Jenkins said, right? And then insert your quote and then make sure to put your in-text citation there. That way we know what was the page number or what was the article where that person wrote or said that thing, right? And then at the end of your research paper, you have a full list. You have a works cited list where you document all of the various sources that you mentioned with your in-text citations. That's a little bit of a hasty overview. You're going to read all about this. You're going to learn how to do this, very intricately. But just to give you a kind of sense of what this is and what this means, you need to include in-text citations in your writing itself whenever you quote, whenever you summarize, whenever you paraphrase. And then at the end of the paper, you have your full works cited where you include all the sources. Okay, so we're at the 20-minute mark. This is getting a little long. I think I'll wrap things up now. Just wanted to give you a broad overview to what the class is. I wanted to say hi to you and just kind of welcome you on this adventure. I hope you have fun here. This can be a really interesting class where you're going to write a research paper. You're going to learn how to think critically like an academic. You're going to kind of transform into a college-ready writer, a college-ready researcher, and a college-ready thinker. So I hope you'll take it seriously. I'll be here to help you along the way, and let's dig into it, hey? All right, take care of yourselves.